Have you ever turned your entire house completely upside down looking for your glasses?
Yeah.
Feeling that rising frustration, just getting so annoyed.
Oh, absolutely. And then you catch your reflection in the hall mirror.
Right. And you realize they were just sitting right there on top of your head the entire time.
Yeah.
It's like universally comical.
And slightly embarrassing.
Very embarrassing. But, I mean, if we scale that feeling up to a much deeper existential level, it really describes the way most of us live our entire lives.
That is so true. We spend years, maybe decades, chasing this very specific feeling.
Exactly. You're looking for peace or validation or just lasting joy.
Okay.
And you try to find it in complex relationships or aggressive career moves or, well, just padding your bank account.
And the real tragedy of it is that you exhaust yourself hunting for a treasure that's already locked inside your own vault.
Yeah, you really do. Well, welcome to another deep dive. For everyone joining us on the Simplified Summary YouTube channel, we are just incredibly thrilled to have you here today.
We really are. We've got a fantastic discussion lined up.
We're going to unpack some really profound, life-changing wisdom today. So we humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and please share your valuable comments down below.
Yeah, your engagement is the fuel that allows us to keep breaking down the world's most important stories.
It really is. Thank you so much for the support. So the mission today is a complete, focused exploration of a specific story. It gets right to the core of that exhausting human chase we just described.
Right. We are looking at a deeply mystical piece of short fiction by the legendary Hindi writer Munshi Premchand.
Yeah, from his celebrated Mansarovar collection. The title of the story is Atma Sangit, which roughly translates to the soul's music.
And just to frame this for you listening, we are dedicating this entire deep dive to this single narrative because the psychological architecture Premchand builds here is, well, it's incredibly dense.
It's so layered. So we need to set the physical scene first because the imagery in the source text establishes the psychological stakes right away.
Right. The setting is crucial here.
It is midnight. The setting is this silent, totally empty bank of a river. And when you look up, the stars are perfectly, totally still in the night sky.
But then when you cast your eyes down to the water, the reflections of those exact same stars are dancing and trembling restlessly on the river's waves.
What's fascinating here is the deliberate contrast he's engineering. Like, that imagery serves as a direct psychological mirror for our protagonist.
Exactly. The stillness of the cosmos up above represents the objective, peaceful reality of the universe.
While the turbulent water below represents the human mind, just distorting and fracturing that peace through its own restless movement.
And that restless mind belongs to Queen Manorama.
Right now, we are introduced to Queen Manorama at a very specific moment in her spiritual journey. She has just spent her entire day doing everything considered technically correct in religious sense.
She's checking all the boxes.
Literally all of them. She's been fasting rigorously. She's been distributing vast amounts of her royal wealth to charity.
She even just took her Guru Diksha, right?
Yes. Exactly, which is a formal, highly significant spiritual initiation from a teacher. So by all external metrics, she has completed the ultimate spiritual checklist.
She should be sleeping the deep, untroubled sleep of a saint.
You would think so, but instead, she is abruptly, violently pulled awake.
Because despite performing all the correct rituals, her mind is mirroring that restless river.
Yeah. She is yanked out of her royal bed by this haunting, divine music that seems to be drifting over from the distant riverbank.
And the text describes this music in just overwhelming terms. It isn't just a pleasant melody.
No, it is life-giving. It's intoxicating.
Yeah.
Queen Manorama is consumed by this absolute desperate need to find its source.
She completely loses it. She abandons her palace, rushes out into the midnight air, and just runs down to the river.
And there she finds a solitary boatman, the Manji, and demands that he ferry her across the water to find this sound.
And to secure his services, she immediately pulls off her incredibly precious royal necklace and offers it as payment.
Which, completely undercuts everything we just learned about her activities earlier that day. Her instinct in the face of the divine is purely transactional.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. I actually want to push back on that characterization just a bit.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, we just established that she spent her entire day taking spiritual vows and giving her wealth away to charity.
Right, she was giving things away.
Exactly. From the outside, she's actively practicing detachment. So why doesn't that count? Why is her immediate knee-jerk instinct still to buy this profound spiritual experience from the boatman?
Ah, I see what you mean. Well, I think it's because there is a massive psychological difference between performative spirituality and true internal detachment.
That's a great point. The performance of giving versus the reality of letting go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When she was giving to charity during the day, she was still acting as the queen. She was the benefactor.
Right. She was in control of the transaction.
Yes. Giving wealth away from a position of immense power often inflates the ego rather than shrinking it. It reinforces the idea that you are the provider.
The one calling the shots.
Yeah. Manorama is still completely operating from that ego. Her identity is so entangled with her royal status that she fundamentally believes her wealth grants her access to everything in the universe,
Even spiritual awakening.
including spiritual awakening. Yeah. It is the trap of treating enlightenment like a premium commodity.
It makes me think of how people today act when they feel spiritually empty or burned out.
Oh, modern wellness culture.
Right. Instead of actually sitting quietly with themselves, they try to purchase peace of mind.
They book a $10,000 silent retreat in the mountains.
Or they buy all the expensive meditation cushions and apps, assuming that if they spend enough money, they will somehow acquire serenity.
Exactly. She assumes she can just swipe her royal credit card to get ferried to enlightenment.
That is the exact delusion Premchand is highlighting here. She views the universe as a marketplace.
But the boatman, he refuses to participate in her marketplace.
He really does. She offers him this priceless, life-changing jewelry, and he flatly rejects it.
And his reasoning is what really grounds the philosophical argument of the story. He tells her that taking her wealth would completely ruin his simple life.
The imagery he uses there is so visceral.
It is. He says if he accepts the jewels, thorns would suddenly start to prick his feet, jackals would begin howling around his home, and pigeons would roost in the palaces of such wealth.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the boatman is articulating the hidden mechanics of material burden.
Oh, I like that phrasing. Material burden.
Yeah, he is acting as an immovable mirror to her illusion. He looks at her treasure and doesn't see a golden ticket to a better life.
Right, he sees a curse, something that invites paranoia and decay.
Let's look closer at that specific imagery because it feels very intentional. Pigeons roosting generally symbolizes abandonment, palaces that have fallen into ruin because they couldn't be maintained.
And the jackal's howling implies a constant creeping danger, a total loss of peace.
Taking that a step further, the boatman understands the psychology of hoarding. The moment he takes that necklace, his mindset has to shift from living to defending.
He will have to build a stronger door. He'll have to look at his neighbors with suspicion.
Exactly. The thorns pricking his feet are the anxieties that accompany the protection of unearned wealth.
He prefers the psychological safety and absolute freedom of his poverty to the heavy, chaotic armor of her riches.
He is completely immune to the only currency she knows how to use.
Which brings us to the core problem of transactional spirituality. When a smaller currency fails, the ego's instinct isn't to surrender.
No, it's to double down.
Right. Because her wealth fails to move him, and because this music is growing exponentially more intense, Manorama starts to unravel.
The text compares the rising volume of the music to the wick of a lamp being turned up, making the flame brighter and hotter.
Premchand's sensory descriptions of the music at this stage are just vital to understanding what is actually happening to her mind.
She frantically describes it to the boatman, right?
She does. She says the music possesses the sweet intoxication of a cuckoo, but it also carries the deep, agonizing pain of a songbird.
It's a real paradox.
It is. And she says it has the unstoppable, violent force of a waterfall, and she claims it ignites the fire of wisdom. The Vivek Agni.
We have to analyze that term, Vivek Agni.
Mm.
Vivek translates to discernment, the profound ability to tell truth from illusion.
And Agni is fire.
Yes. So this auditory experience she is having isn't some gentle lullaby. It is an active, destructive force.
It is a fire starting to burn away her lifelong delusions.
That totally explains the contradiction in her description. A waterfall is beautiful, but if you stand directly underneath it, the force will absolutely crush you.
Wow, yeah. And the pain of the songbird mixed with the sweetness of the cuckoo. It shows that stripping away the ego is not a peaceful, spa-like experience.
Not at all. It is a painful, forceful dismantling of who you think you are.
The music is demanding that she shed her armor. And we witness that shedding process in real time through the escalating offers she makes to the boatman.
Since the necklace was rejected, she raises the stakes to an absurd degree.
She offers him her entire kingdom.
She essentially says, take my throne, take my armies, take all of my lands, just ferry me across the river to this sound.
And when the boatman remains entirely unmoved by the offer of absolute political power, she offers the absolute last thing she possesses.
She offers herself.
Yeah. This represents the concept of ego depletion. She is systematically running out of external resources to manipulate her environment.
She promises this barefoot boatman that she will become his servant.
She vows to sweep the dirt floor of his hut. She will fetch his daily water. She even offers to massage his wife's feet.
She tells him she would gladly give 100 lives just to reach the music.
We are watching a ruling monarch willingly degrade herself to the lowest possible social caste. It's wild.
It raises such an important question about the nature of identity. Like, what does it actually mean to offer yourself in this context?
Right, because first she tried the necklace, the external possessions. That failed.
Then she tried to trade her institutional power and societal rank, the kingdom, and that failed.
Finally, having exhausted all external leverage, she is forced to trade her physical autonomy and her pride.
She is just peeling off the costume of Queen Manorama layer by layer.
Here's where it gets really interesting. It demonstrates that raw vulnerability is the absolute only currency left when money and societal power are rendered useless.
That's so true.
When you're confronted with something truly authentic, your job title means nothing. Your social media following means nothing. Your bank account is totally irrelevant.
The universe, which in this moment is represented by the boatman, doesn't want your stuff. It demands your unfiltered, unarmored self.
And the boatman's relentless refusal acts as this, like mechanical press, squeezing the ego right out of her.
Because he isn't holding out for a better real estate deal on the kingdom, you know?
Exactly. His inaction forces her into a corner where surrender is literally the only remaining option. She has to let go of the idea that she can control the outcome.
And that forced surrender triggers the climax of the narrative. Driven to absolute physical and mental exhaustion by the escalating music and the failure of her negotiations, Queen Manorama physically collapses.
She falls entirely at the boatman's feet. Every single ounce of her royal pride is just extinguished.
The text describes her slipping into a trance-like state of complete self-forgetfulness. She experiences this sensation of weightlessness, feeling like she is flying, with stars twinkling all around her.
Consider the motif of the stars returning here. In the opening scene, the stars were perfectly still in the sky, but their reflections were trembling violently in the restless river of her mind.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Right. Now, in this state of absolute weightless surrender, the stars are twinkling all around her. The internal storm is broken.
The river of her mind has finally gone still, allowing her to experience the reality of the stars without all that distortion.
And in that moment of perfect stillness, the illusion shatters completely.
Right.
Premchand delivers a massive twist.
The music, the intoxicating, painful, life-giving sound she was so desperate to reach, it was never coming from the opposite bank of the river.
It was never external. It was coming from her.
She is the source of the music.
Yes. The prose details how the life-giving drops of nectar are actually falling from her own lips.
It forces a complete reevaluation of the entire story. If she was the source of the music the entire time, we have to look at the psychological mechanism that prevented her from hearing it.
Why was she convinced she needed a boat to reach something that was inside her own throat?
Because she was deafened by the engine of her own ego.
Think of it like being on a motorized boat on a beautiful lake.
Okay, I like this analogy.
You hear this incredibly resonant, deep hum, and you assume it's coming from an island across the water. So you aggressively rev your engine and speed toward the island to find it.
But the roar of your own motor makes it impossible to locate the sound.
Exactly. It is only when you run completely out of gas, when the engine dies and you are left drifting in total silence, that you realize the beautiful resonant hum is actually the sound of the wind vibrating against the hull of your own boat.
Wow.
You were making the music, but your aggressive pursuit of it made you deaf to it.
That perfectly illustrates the mechanism of her blindness. The constant loud maintenance of her royal status, combined with her transactional approach to life, acted as that roaring engine.
All her daytime activities, the fasting, the publicized charity, the formal guru initiation,
Those are all loud, performative actions. They kept her mind noisy.
she was so conditioned to commanding the external world, to buying and conquering her surroundings, that she automatically projected this divine experience outward.
She assumed it had to be an external object she could acquire.
It requires hitting absolute rock bottom to shut the engine off. The Boatman facilitated that silence by systematically rejecting everything she used to define her own importance.
He didn't give her the music. He just forced her to be quiet enough to hear it.
Surrender, in this philosophical framework, isn't about giving up or being defeated.
No, it is the active release of the illusion that you can manipulate the divine.
Once she stopped trying to buy the experience, she became the experience.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? I mean, we aren't monarchs ruling over ancient kingdoms.
And we probably aren't negotiating with cryptic boatmen at midnight.
Probably not. But the trap Queen Manorama falls into is the exact same trap most of us are stuck in today.
We constantly project our internal needs onto external targets.
We absolutely do. How often do you catch yourself looking outward? Seeking deep validation, looking for a sense of peace, trying to find joy from external sources.
We place the burden of our happiness on our romantic relationships, on achieving the next job title, on the approval of our peers.
Or on the things we can purchase.
We exhaust ourselves, motoring aggressively toward the other side of the river, entirely convinced that the missing piece of our soul is waiting over there.
But Premchand's story demands that we pause and ask a terrifying question. What if the exact music you are desperately searching for is a frequency you must generate from within?
What if you are already the source of what you're seeking, but you were just too loud, too busy transacting with the world to hear it?
It requires a profound, often uncomfortable shift in how we orient our lives. We have to be willing to stop negotiating for our peace.
And to build on that, here is a final thought for you to carry into the rest of your day.
What if the external beauty, the profound inspiration, or the deep connection we chase so frantically in the world around us is actually just an echo of our own unexpressed potential?
What if the universe isn't hiding anything from you at all?
What if it is simply waiting for you to quiet down, to let go of your need to control and acquire long enough to finally hear your own song?
You cannot purchase the experience of being alive. You have to strip away the noise until you simply become it.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Well, before we sign off, we want to extend a massive thank you to everyone who joined us for this deep dive on the Simplified Summary channel.
We really appreciate you spending your time with us.
If Queen Manorama's journey sparked something for you today, please hit that like button and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever realized you were searching outwardly for something you already carried inside?
We'd love to read those stories.
Yeah, share your story with the community. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss our next exploration of the world's greatest stories.
Until next time, take a moment to cut the engine and listen for that music.
And remember, sometimes the things we think are broken, the muddy waters we are trying so hard to clear, are just the restless reflections of our own busy minds.
The perfect stillness of the stars is always there,
Waiting just underneath the surface. Take care, everyone.